problems getting reliable labour. Handy hands up, 1, 2. So that's possibly a role for a co-op.
Yeah.
The labour co-op.
Does anyone deal with woofers, wheeling workers on organic farms? It used to be a big thing about 10, 15 years ago. I know there was a guy in Portland.
They still do.
It's still going, but just out here it's rather small, the demand for it.
But the ATO now doesn't recognise, or the government doesn't recognise a woofer on a working visa any longer. The same as they took out likes of Sydney, Newcastle, Wollongong, have to be out of those areas to be able to qualify for the 3 months and 12. So woofers once used to be able to do that, but the government wants to tax off it. Only if they're paying tax.
15% tax.
Because that bloke that's with me, Tom, is just arrived from England, and he's a friend of a friend sort of thing, you know. And that's when you look up the tax. They want that tag.
Yeah, I've had some experience. The guys at Rosnay Organic Wines, they rely a little bit on woofing, so they get, I think they can only house sort of one woofer at a time, and they've got a reasonable sort of online presence, I think, and a bit of background where people will actually seek them out and come and do that work. But the other side of that sort of labour as well is that there's a degree of unreliability, like there's no commitment as to a certain amount of time for people to come out and do that work with you, and you get variable quality in those people that come out. So there's lots of different issues in it, but certainly there's other methods of getting subsidised labour. So when I was running my business, well, I don't know about that now because I don't have experience with it, but certainly when I was working, you get long-term unemployed people on a subsidised wage for a set period of time, and you come out and train them up a little bit, and then, you know, the guys that were no good, you pass them on, they go back into the system, and hopefully out of that situation you might get 1 or 2, which happened for me. I was lucky enough to get one guy who was excellent, who didn't mind doing the hours in the vegetables and getting up early and doing all the rest of it, and that was of great benefit to me. Unfortunately, I didn't generate enough income where I could give him full-time employment, so it's a little bit of a catch-22 in that situation. But yeah, there are perhaps some other sort of types of subsidised labour out there, and perhaps I think labour hire organisations like Dirt Health Thinking Backers does it. So you might already be aware of them, but that's just another option perhaps.
It'd be interesting to hear from you. Where do you think we're going to go now? What's the next step?
Resilience.
Today?
Towards resilience.
I still don't understand.
We're saying building resilience, so the next step towards...
There's another step.
Yes,
there's another workshop that goes on. It might be this afternoon, but
we do
there's another workshop that goes on from this. How you plug
We do
yourself
have, we do have, as it says, workshops this afternoon. These days are meant to be a bit of information to see what's out there and an opportunity to network with other people. They're run by the Bathurst Whole Food Co-operative on grant monies, and they'll be all spent doing these 2 workshops. But the thing about it is that we want to create then a network through which you could all communicate and access more information as we build a bit of a report about it. Maybe then there's scope to run some more, but unless we get some sort of a network and information from you guys about what it is that you need, we can't focus on what it is that we can then look towards providing in the future. But basically this is just a very first baby step, if you like, to getting people together to recognise you can join together. There are people out there with the same sorts of needs that you have, and maybe you should talk together about it and work out how you can work together to move towards a more sustainable business model.
At the very least, we're looking to capture your email addresses, which we have because of the way you've registered for the day. So we'll be communicating to you outcomes and shared objectives, if you like, from the workshops this afternoon with you. in future. We also suggest that we're on Facebook, so like the page.
Could I ask you a question? Actually, you said in the 60s, 60% of the household budget was spent on food, and something considerably less now. How do we convince people of the value of real food? I'm currently enjoying some good lamb prices, but my friends tell me that paying $36 for a lamb cutlet is ridiculous. $36 a kilo. Whereas that might be the real value of it to make farmers profit. So how do we convince people that there is value for money in real food?
Well, it's a great question. Part of me just says, well, you wait for them just to get so sick and to find an alternative.
And stupid.
And sick and stupid, yeah, but once they're stupid, you can't
convince them.
that's right. 22. No, sorry. Look, it's interesting, you know, I mean, the whole thing around food sustainability and all that, I've often said this, I've said it in Bathurst to be true on Orange as well. If you stand on Mount Canobolas, you could feed all of Orange comfortably in the land that you can see, but not on the diet that we've got right now. You know, and I this might make me sound like a complete tosser, but I'll go into our butcher and I say, mate, give me the best meat you've got. And he goes, geez, mate, it's $40 a kilo. I said, I don't care. I buy meat once a month. Do you know, like, so I get a really nice bit of ribeye steak. I get the best lamb I can every fortnight or whatever. Now, it's bad news for you in a way because you want a bit of volume, but it's much better for me health-wise. I think, you know, that changing people's diets is a non-trivial component of what we're talking about. And it starts with restaurants. You know, you go and you order pasta on a menu, you get a bowl of pasta this big and 3 bits of basil or something on the side. Well, it's completely arse about, you know. That should be the size of your pasta dish and the rest of it should all be veggies. That's if you're trying to be healthy and look after the planet. So how you do it, I think I'd love to see a sugar tax in this country. I'd love to see way more effort on promoting the benefits. And this is why I got so excited when I heard that research the other day, because of the timeliness of that diet thing. Humans are traditionally really bad at discounting our future. You know, I mean, if you say to somebody you might get sick from smoking, well, you know, it's a really hard sell. If you can actually say, actually, immediately the impacts are on you, I think there's hope in that. And, you know, I would be a strong advocate for getting involved in some sort of, you know, healthy eating campaign. But here we go, the feds have just defunded Healthy Harold in schools, you know, so...
No, they want to back it.
They want back. People, well done. Social media. So there obviously is an upswell there, but you guys, like, we as a community need to push and own that, and we need to have the barbecue conversations. And, you know, when you have your barbie next time, throw an eggplant on there and grill some sweet potato and some potatoes with it and buy less sausages. You know, that's the sort of thing that you can do and start to slowly change that diet.
I'd also add to that and just say, Ash brought up the issue of industrialisation, creating so much more food, which has brought down the prices. So people no longer value their food, I think, as much as what they used to. Food wastage is pretty topical. It's been on the ABC recently, on the show that's on there. So yeah, I guess it's a byproduct of these efficient, massive-scale industrialised systems that unfortunately people are disconnected from their food. They don't understand it, they don't value it as much, and for small guys trying to build themselves up and get to a level where they're generating income, supporting their family, putting back into the community, it does make it a little bit difficult, unfortunately. So.
Yeah. But eating healthy is actually cheaper. You know, it actually is. People say, oh, I can't afford to buy an organic kale sandwich. Well, you don't have to, mate. Just, you know, just get some decent bread. It'll fill you up. You'll eat half. You know, like. But that education piece is missing. By the way, I heard on the radio this morning that 10% of Australian youth, aged 18 to 35, couldn't tell people how many kids they had.
Yeah.
Did you hear that? I mean, that's extraordinary to live where, and that sort of extraordinary level of ignorance is perhaps an opportunity as well. You know, there are people out there that you know, don't know a lot of stuff. So if you're the first person to tell them something, they'll probably believe you. Tell them to eat your food because they'll get strong. Sorry?
No, 3.
But it's a sad reflection on our education system, you know.
It's not the education.
You know, actually, that 50%
Right.
of people are below average.
What is it? 80% of male drivers think they're above average. Drivers.
Last question, is it, we have last question? Or?
Yes, yes.
So I'm from Sydney, and so I just wanted to follow on from that. You've got, people have massive mortgages, they have long commutes. And so when you say 10% off food, I think, yeah, of course, most of your money going on your mortgage and on, paying off your bills and stuff. So I get free food and veg boxes because they come to my door, and it saves me a trip to the supermarket because I spend enough time in there. So I think that convenience story is also important.
Co-op, maybe the co-op food packing thing that gives people stuff to their doors in ready-made meals or whatever. The only other point I would make in what you're saying though about the mortgage and all that being, and now, for goodness sakes, from when I was little, now you've got your pay TV, your internet, your phone, your mobile, all that sort of stuff in there as well. But if we go into the shed where we last sold broccoli on the side of the road in 1983, the price of broccoli, guess what the price of broccoli was on the blackboard? Same price it is today, $3 a kilo, And so that's also what's driving it, is because we can't possibly pay more than $3 a kilo for broccoli or $2 a kilo for bananas or whatever. And so the primary producers are the ones who've had to suck that up. So, all these problems, a big part of this for me keeps coming back to consumer awareness. I think governments, you can't wait for them to change things. It comes down to being really active in that consumer space.
In fact, we have to be part of that education process too. That's the whole part of forming a cooperative. One of the major objectives of the Bathurst Whole Food Cooperative is to educate people on the benefits of growing and consuming local food. And there are a lot of education issues that are very relevant to this conversation. People just don't know enough about how to grow food, when it grows, where it grows. So we've got to be a part of that solution as well. So
just to add again to that, with the Bathurst Co-op, one of our things that we try to do is to pay farmers sort of what they would like. So with the fruit and vegetable pricing, not everything. They can't give a Ferrari for whatever. But so for the small producer coming in with some stuff off their backyard tree that might not be certified organic, we still try and pay them the going market rate for the Sydney wholesale organic vegetables down there. So that's trying to incentivise production and service the local community that way. Mind you, there's a limit to how much volume we can take off your plum tree out the back. But yeah, that's another way, trying to pay those fair prices. So the cooperative is working that way.
But just with the education part, the internet's a marvellous thing, but 99% of it's bullshit.
And
sorry,
people look for what makes them happy.
Yeah, because I used to be certified organic. I'm no longer. I had a falling out with my certifier because basically in my book they were charlatans. But you get people where I used to sell into Sydney, no offence to any at the Sydney market or anywhere, but oh, you're a farmer, you must be out there dowsing your crops in X, Y, and Z, which is quite contrary. If people actually knew the real cost of normal farming, conventional farming, not so much organic or sustainable, things like that. There's a chemical that some of the corn growers use. It stops corn borers and that sort of thing boring into the cob. It's $1,000 a litre. It's a litre a hectare, and you have to do it 5 or 6 times a season. The cost is prohibitive. They're not out there dowsing that. Now, if the average Joe Blow down the street knew that sort of thing or understood how that worked and why it was, they wouldn't be thinking, oh, you're just a farmer, you're just, oh, you're not organic, you're out there spraying and dowsing things left, right and centre. You'd go broke. So yes, I understand where people come from. They don't want any inputs, but people need to understand the cost of the inputs before they can just go and say, "Oh, organic's better." Well, why? You can't tell me. So where are you getting the information? Oh, from someone's forum. Oh, goody for you. Where's the real information? And that's the biggest hurdle in agriculture: giving real information, which equals real education, and reinforcing that mindset that it mightn't be great for the environment, but they're not out there, destroying it to produce cheap food. Just things like that. So there's too many soapboxes with too much misinformation on it.
We've got one last question at the back.
Oh, just a comment. I was going to agree with Vanessa. Even in orange, convenience is a huge thing. So we produce off our farm, and all my customers are direct, and I work very very hard to get all those customers, and I take food to them, and it's not an issue of cost or the nutrition of food or it's basically convenience. So there'd be a lot more that I can't service because only one of them who would pay for that and they value food, but it's still easier if you're in the supermarket to grab your $7 chicken that's had a horrendous life. For a lot of those people, especially mums. When I started, I thought a lot of my market would be mums, but they're not really at all. So I've been able to work out very quickly my demographic, and the biggest thing that I come across is convenience, and so I've been able to meet that. So a lot of people want to eat great food, but even in Orange, they can't work their way around to get to the great food because unfortunately the time pressures we have on ourselves now.
Can I just add something that people might be interested in? Is the Savoury Institute have a website. If you Google Consumer Revolution Global, so that's actually an initiative by the Savoury Institute globally to link the consumer to the market, to producers. And if you Google that and have a look, there's some really great videos on there that they produced late last year. And we're part of that organisation. We ran a conference here in Dubbo in November. And that's we've got a link to that via Savoury Network Hub here. So there's a lot of resources that they're creating that are going around globally, which we're then able to link with what other people are doing around the world. We're chasing behind what other people are doing in other countries. So, don't think we're at the beginning of it, we're sort of at the end of it. We're not sort of at the end of it, but there's people in Zimbabwe where I was last year and they've got kitchen gardens going and they're herding their animals differently. So there's change just happening everywhere and people are just realising it's driven by climate. They're saying if we don't change the way we're doing things, we're really going to be in a bad way. So, yeah, get moving, let's get going because so much is happening around the world and we can really learn by what others are doing.
So please thank our panel. Thank you.